The ultimate goal is that you not only become the best version of yourself, but that you also find your inner peace and you find true happiness. And that is what we're all trying to achieve. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I am Chimere Nicole, and we're going to jump right into today's video where I'm going to be sharing with you some tips on how you can reinvent yourself this year right now. So we're going to jump right into the tips to help you get started with reinventing yourself this year. So before we jump into the tips, I want to talk about what reinventing actually means. Me being who I am, I went to Webster's dictionary because I wanted to articulate the definition in a way that was sustainable and not actually have you go and search it for yourself. But essentially, it means to change something that almost makes it a different product. So when you think about reinventing yourself, you're thinking about who you are as a person, how you're presenting, and you're going to be changing yourself to almost present yourself as a new person. And if that is your goal, this video is for you because we are going to be talking about some tips on how you can become the best version of yourself. So the first tip that I want to share with you guys is to think big. When you're thinking about rebranding yourself, I don't want you to think in terms of aesthetics, like I want to look a certain way, or I want to dress a certain way, or I want to speak a certain way. Now those are all really great things, but if you're thinking about rebranding yourself, I want you to think outside of the box. I want you to get creative, get inventive, and really think about, the thing that you are desiring to achieve or to become. The example I'm going to give you guys is if someone comes to you and they say, I'm going to fulfill your life's wish, whatever it is that you've been desiring for a very long time, I'm going to give you that. So tell me what it is. I don't think you're going to think on a scale of, oh, well, I want an outfit from Zara, or I want to empty out my shopping cart on Amazon. Now for most of us, maybe that is the case because I got a lot of stuff in my Amazon cart. But what I mean is, if someone is able to give you your heart's desire, you're not going to think on a small scale. You're going to think on a big scale. So when you're thinking about reinventing yourself, I want you to also think on a bigger scale. So don't just think about aesthetics. Don't just think about how you look. Don't think about how you talk. Don't think about the clothes that you're wearing. I want you to think about the person that you can become. That person can achieve all of your life's goals, your ambitions. You can be happy. You can, have a purpose-driven life. Think bigger than the things that you can see. Think about the things that can be of impact. The second tip is going to be something that is going to be, in my opinion, one of the most important tips, and that is you have to get disciplined. One of the mottos that I've been learning to live by is the success that you want is hidden behind the work that you don't want to do. Okay? And I think about this when I'm feeling really lazy or I just don't want to do it. I just don't want to get out of bed. I really have to think about it. My actions are going to determine my success. So if I want to lay here in bed, okay, then I can't complain about the things that I don't have. And so it helps me to stay disciplined, and discipline is going to not only get you to your goal, but it's going to help you to sustain your goal once you get it. You have to be disciplined in the goals that you create, but you also have to learn discipline so that you can manage all of the things that you are trying to achieve in your life. I also believe that discipline for me has translated into, instead of creating, I don't want to use the word goals, I use it a lot in this video, but moving forward, I really want you to try to think of your goals as creating a system. For example, one of the things that I've done has been, instead of me saying, oh, I want to lose 5 pounds, right? So I'm not going to eat carbs, or I want to lose 5 pounds and I'm going to go for a walk. I started to create systems in my life that will help me to achieve the goal, but also help me to stay disciplined. And so for me, one of those things was, okay, I want to lose 5 pounds, but I need to be able to be disciplined in doing it and make it so that it's a sustainable change. In order for me to do that, I have to change my daily habits and to create a daily system for these new habits. So that would translate into something that will look like, okay, I want to lose 5 pounds, so I need to create a goal or a system that is going to allow me to walk more. So that means my new system is I get out of bed and I walk my dog. It's almost like clockwork to me now because I've been so accustomed to creating this goal or this system now. By default, it makes me disciplined in my daily walking. It makes me disciplined in making sure that I have a morning routine. Systems allows you to not only get to that goal, but it also helps you to stay disciplined so that you can maintain the goal once you reach it. One of the hardest lessons I had to learn on my journey, and it may not be as hard for you, but it was hard for me, was I had to make decisions that weren't based on trends. I'm going to talk to you guys about a trend that I'm currently seeing. I think it's kind of funny, but the trend is a lot of girls online are talking about taking Pilates. And although it's a really great thing, I think it's funny because Pilates has been around for a very long time, the same way yoga has been around for a very long time. And because it's so trendy now, Pilates is like the new thing. But I'm noticing now that all of these gym girlies who were so into Pilates, they're kind of like falling off. And it's because they made a decision based off of a trend. It wasn't something that they really wanted to do. They made the decision because it looked good. They made the decision because their favorite influencer possibly was doing it. My point is, don't make decisions on this journey just because it looks trendy. Make the decisions because it's something that you truly want to do, and more importantly, you're making the decision because it's something that you love. It's something that you enjoy. It is something that is going to ultimately give you happiness, and that is the goal of any glow up, reinvention, transformation journey that you decide to take. The ultimate goal is that you not only become the best version of yourself, but that you also find your inner peace and you find true happiness, and that is what we're all trying to achieve. I have been on a transformation journey for a very long time, and I had to reinvent my life, and one of the ways that I've done that was I actually wrote a book, and it's called Girl Yes, and it teaches women to be bold, ambitious, and beautiful. And I talk about how I was able to transform my life in under 30 days and the steps that I did to replicate those successes, and I did it over and over and over again for a year, and I have been able to achieve some wonderful things that I'm going to talk to you guys about later on in this video. So if you want to check those resources out, I will have them linked for you in the video description. Another tip that I want to share with you is also that your mindset has to change, and I'm going to give you a few reasons why your mindset is going to play a pivotal role in your glow up challenge. It is going to almost be impossible for you to reinvent your life thinking the way that you used to think. You trying to lose 10 pounds, but you're still eating the cheesesteaks that you were eating for the last 6 months. There is absolutely no way that is going to be possible, let alone be sustainable. And so your mindset works in the same way. You cannot sustain a reinvention of your body, your mind, your spirit if your mindset has not shifted to accommodate the new version of you. One of the ways that I do this is that I make vision boards. I don't actually get like the poster boards like we used to do it back in the day. I actually make my vision boards on Canva, and so I have a vision board that is my screensaver on my phone, and I also have a vision board that is a screensaver on my iPad, and it helps me to visualize not only the things that I want to achieve, but it also helps me to visualize the person that I want to become. And so for me, having these things tangible, having these things being a constant for me to see visually helps me to maintain my mindset. I really think that journaling as well as creating these vision boards are a really good way to help you in your mindset shift, because it's something that you can always see and it always reminds you of what your end goal is. So not only do I envision essentially the things that I want to achieve or the person that I wanted to become, I also like to envision the characteristics of the woman that I wanted to become. So I really had to sit back, and like I said, I do this all the time, and I try to have these self-assessments with myself, and essentially it's I check myself. I look in the mirror and say, girl, this ain't working. What we got, how we gonna fix this? So I like to check myself really often for two reasons. One, because I don't want nobody else to check me, and then two, it just really helps me to stay on track with my personal reinvention and making sure that the standards and the goals that I'm trying to reach are always working together for the greater good. So when I look at my vision boards, of course I see all the things that I want to achieve, but I also like to envision the characteristics of the woman that I wanted to become. I had to think about, what was her character? What was her speech like? How did she communicate with other people? How did people receive her? How was her aura? These are all of the things that I wanted to reinvent in my life. And so I didn't only think about the things that I wanted to accomplish or the things that I wanted to gain. I thought about the person who was able to have the capacity in which she was able to host all of these things, the new thoughts, the new mindset, the new characteristics, everything. And so I really want to focus on becoming that person and not a shell of what that person looked like. Also, with incorporating those same elements, I really had to think about my environment. So when I thought about the woman that I wanted to become and the woman that I wanted to reinvent myself into, I had to think about her environment, the places she would go, the places she would eat, even the places she would shop, the places that she would relax, some of the things that she would do to grow and feed into her spiritually. And so for me, I knew that woman was a woman who read her Bible. She was getting closer to God. My relationship with God needed to improve. And I also knew that because I wanted to improve my relationship with God, I could not be in the same environments that my old mindset and my old character and the old person that I was trying to reinvent myself from. The places she would hang out, I knew I couldn't be. And so I really had to think about shifting not only my mindset, but also shifting my character. Think about the woman that you wanted to become. Would she be in the same places that you're currently in? 9 times out of 10, the answer is going to be no. So when you think about changing and reinventing yourself, you also have to reinvent the spaces that you are in. So because I knew I wanted to reinvent myself, I knew that that was going to come with some changes that would also be tangible, things that I can hold, things that I would gain from me doing this. And so when I thought about that, I said, okay, me reinventing myself was going to allow me to gain all of these new things. But I really focused on, okay, I'm accumulating all of these things. Will I be in the position to be able to maintain it? Will I be in the position, as the Bible says, would I be a good steward over the things that I have? So I really focused on putting myself in a position that I would be able to sustain all of the things I knew were coming my way. So as the saying goes, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And so I really wanted to incorporate this in my reinvention and say, even though I don't have all of the things that I want right now, I'm going to prepare for them because I know that they're on the way. So I got in position before I was even off the bench. So I talked about earlier thinking big, and I talked about creating systems, but I also want to talk about moral character. I want us to really sit down and like take a piece of paper. That's one of the things I love to do, is write. But take a piece of paper and actually write down the moral characteristics and traits of the person that you want to become. When you reinvent yourself, remember, you are changing yourself to become a different person, or almost a different person, as the definition says. So if you're trying to reinvent yourself to become a different person, think about those character traits. Think about those values that you now have that you may not possess right now, and focus on those values, because those values are going to also help you become that person. I really want you to think about those character traits that you want to embody as you reinvent yourself, and really write those down and be specific when you're writing them down. And we've talked about some of those character traits even in this video. And one of the things that I don't think a lot of people talk about when we're talking about reinventing ourselves is that there is a certain level of fear that we possess when we talk about reinventing ourselves or changing ourselves to become a better version of ourselves, or to become a different version of ourselves. And there is a lot of fear attached to that, and there are a lot of consequences attached to that I don't think a lot of people discuss. That is the fear of not being accepted by friends and family. That is the fear of essentially the unknown. As I said, how people may treat you, not knowing how to operate in this new capacity. And I think there's also a fear of not knowing how to operate as this new version of you. You got to think about it. Depending on your age, 30 plus, if you've been doing something for 30 years, or you had this version of yourself that's 30, 40 years in the making, and now you're trying to reinvent yourself and to become a totally different person, you don't know how to operate. You don't have the experience to operate as that new person, and that can be very scary for a lot of us. And so I think a lot of people don't talk about that. I think if you're really serious about reinventing yourself, you have to embrace that fear and let that fear be a driving force for you. So as you enter this new chapter in your life, you can take that fear of the unknown and say, yes, I may not know what's going to be next, but I am going to embrace this fear openly, knowing that what I have been doing for so long isn't working. So I have no other choice but to reinvent myself to become either a different or a better version of myself, to be able to achieve the things that I want to achieve in this life. And my final tip for this video on reinventing yourself is, in order for you to fully reinvent yourself this year, you have to forgive yourself. Now I know I'm going to be ending this video and I'm gonna get a little deep with y'all, but I really think it's one of those things that it has to be said. A lot of times people don't reinvent themselves because of shame. And like I said earlier, you know, it's the shame is embedded in fear, it's embedded in the trauma, it's embedded in you not having confidence because you tried it before and it didn't work out, and so you are fearful of trying again because you don't want to fail, and you don't want people to see you fail, and you don't want people to see you trying because you're not sure of what the end result is going to be. And you have to forgive yourself for the times that you gave up on yourself. You have to forgive yourself for the shame that you felt for not following through on the things or the plans that you set out from a previous time you wanted to invent yourself. You have to forgive yourself. When you forgive yourself, it leaves a space for you to kind of breathe and take in this new chapter, but it also releases you of some of that fear. Fear takes up space in your heart, in your mind. It's crippling. It is crippling to the point where you don't want to move when you know you want to move. And if you clicked on this video, a urgency in you, and you know that there's something better, and you know that you should be doing more, and you know that God has given you something in your heart that is telling you to go after it, and the fear of it all is stopping you, and it can be crippling. And again, I'm speaking from personal experience because I know what it feels like. But you have to forgive yourself fully for the times that you didn't listen, for the times that you made mistakes, for the times that you gave up on yourself. Because if you don't forgive yourself, you're not going to have the space in order for you to move, and your heart is still going to be holding on to the traumas of the failed experiences, the failed relationships, the failed everything from your past. It is not going to let you fully embrace your future. So you have to forgive yourself in order to reinvent yourself into the person that you want to become. So that is it, ladies. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that these tips that I shared with you are going to help you along your journey as you reinvent yourself this year. Trust me when I tell you, I have gone through all of these tips personally, and I know that they're not always going to be sunshine and rainbows when you're going through the process, but I promise you it is going to be worth it. And because we got to the end of the video, I'm just going to share with you, if you're new here on this channel, I have gone through my own reinvention. I've shared it on my Girl Yes channel, which I'll link below, but I'll give you a brief synopsis. I have gone through the process of reinventing myself multiple times and becoming the best version of myself, and I talk about how I've done that. But because of the work that I did, because I was able to release myself from the fear, release myself from the shame, and really being able to be honest with myself and know that I am not where I want to be, and it's because of the work that I wasn't doing, and being willing to put the work in, I have been able to accomplish some really fantastic and amazing things in my life. And I will share some of those things here on the screen. I've been able to win a national title. I've been able to write a book. I've been able to impact the lives of hundreds, and I would even say thousands of women, because I was obedient and I was disciplined in my own personal reinvention. So I hope that these tips are going to be helpful for you as you start your reinvention journey this year. So thank you for sticking with me during this video. If you guys want to check out some of the resources that I have available that will help you on your reinvention journey, I will link those in the video description. And I hope that these tips are going to be helpful for you on your reinvention journey. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.